So we'll do our little bit of chat like we do in the beginning, and that chat is basically to help with the meditation. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story from the Indian fables. It's called the animal fables called the Panchatantra. Have you heard of Panchatantra? Pancha means five, number five. Tantra is like five essays, right? So again, animals are talking in here, but the stories they carry a nice moral value. So in Panchatantra, there's this story. One day, five Brahmins or five ascetics, they got together. They started doing their meditation. They did the yoga, and they got some superpowers. So they got all these magical superpowers, and they were walking through a jungle. Four of them actually, and then they happened to notice a skeleton of a tiger. So one guy told, well, you know, my superpower is that I can collect all these bones and make it like a proper tiger skeleton. So he did that. The second guy said, I can put flesh and ligaments and all and the skin into this tiger. So he did that. And the third guy said, I can give life to this tiger. So then he was going to do that. And the fourth one, he's not a very learned one. He's usually the black sheep, and he did not know much. He said, guys, before you do this, are you sure that you want to do that? Anyway, the third guy, he gave life, and then the other guy managed to climb up a tree, and the tiger attacked the rest of the three Brahmins. So the moral of the story is that sometimes the common sense is not so common. Right? But apart from that, why I told this story, now this story occurred or came, Panchatantra was written about 200, 300 before Christ, BC. But these stories have been there for the longest time. The fables have been there for the longest time. Now, why I told this story is that like these bones which were lying on the floor of on the grass in the forest, we also give value to things, and then we make things real so that they would end up consuming us, right? And if we look at this value addition or value creation that we do, you know, every time you add value, you need to pay VAT, right? So it comes back, it comes back to you. Now, if we look at this value creation, a young child, there are so many young children who walks in here, like 2-year-old, 3-year-old, they have really limited amount of value in this world, or they have not attached a lot of value into things. But as we grow, we attach value to people, we attach value to places, to things, and to different activities. I'm sure that you will attach a lot of value for meditation and for yoga. That's the value that you have attached. You ask a kid, they don't have any value for yoga or meditation, but they are more bendier than you and they are more calmer than you. Right? So it's very counterintuitive. Like these Brahmins, they learned a lot, and they were very learned, and they were trying to make use of their knowledge. Sometimes this knowledge can be quite negative. We add value, and that value keeps coming back, trying to make us not so peaceful and not so happy. When we look at the values again, do you know the coral island called Maldives? Maldivian Islands. It's a beautiful set of islands, not an archipelago, it's a coral island, and it's very expensive there. Usually a room is about over $1,000 a night, really expensive, nice island. It's a beautiful island too. But then the story behind it being expensive is not really the beauty of that island. Some company, the government actually contracted that company to run a campaign saying that because of the global warming, the ice caps are going to melt down and these Maldives Island are going to go underwater. So if you want to take your loved one, this is the last chance. Pay $1,000 and get your loved one there, right? So that's called value creation. And back in the day, I used to work at a multinational company, a brand manager, before I became a monk. And our department was called the Generating Demand Department, GD department. Back in the day, they called it the Marketing Department. Now it's called the GD, Generating Demand. And when we generate demand, people just buy. and they attach that value to that, right? So if you look at all the values that we have, someone has created it someday, and maybe someone with a good intention, maybe someone with a monetary intention in his mind, but someone has created that intention, and now we keep attaching value to that. Diamonds, for example, what's the value of a diamond? Can you eat it? Can you do anything with it? With gold, which has a few purposes, diamond could go on a watch, but other than that, it's just a artificial demand people have. And who's the owner of this value? Do you know who owns the value? If you look at, there's a sociologist or a sociologist called Eric Durkheim. He talks about something called a social fact. There's a lot of facts in the society. There's no owner, but everyone is bound by it. I'll tell you another story to demonstrate that. This is called the 5 monkeys experiment. One day, a scientist took 5 monkeys, put them in a cage, and hung a banana up in the middle, put a ladder also, and then the monkeys would go up and eat a banana. And then the experiment was, as they climb the ladder, whoever who climbs will be showered with an ice cold shower. So the monkeys knew that if we climb, there's a punishment. So the experiment was, they took out a monkey and replaced another monkey. So the new monkey, he did not know anything. He was trying to climb, and everyone started stopping him and blocking him, because if he climbed, everyone is going to get showered with ice cold water. So then he also learned it. The experiment went on. They replaced all the 5 original monkeys and put new 5 monkeys, and they stopped the showering also. No one is climbing now. So this is how it happens in the society. Someone comes up with something, and then we believe it. There is a fact which is there, and that fact is not belonging to anyone, but it's governing everyone. And because of that, people do or do not do things, and they sometimes are happy because of that, sometimes are not happy because of that. Now this value, because we attach value, it also makes us happy, right? When a kid who's really young, an infant, he has no value to any person except for his mother, maybe only mother, not even father, right? I have seen kids who are really young, their father passes away, the young kid doesn't care. I've seen them playing under the coffin. They have no value for that, right? But as you grow, they start giving value to people. First your parents, siblings, then your loved ones, and then it comes to a point where it's so undetachable, right? You cannot detach that. Now, I'm not anti giving value. It's just, if we understand how it happens, maybe we can be more free in the world. Maybe we can be more peaceful in the world. Now, this value that we attach, is it in the image? Is it in the sound that we hear? Is it in the smell or the taste that we feel? Or is it in the touch? Now, that's the question, right? Where is this value coming from? Who's the owner of this value? Where did I create it? How did I create this value? And is the value in the sound, sight, touch, or is it basically in what I see? Is it in what I hear? Now that's the question. What do you think? Where is that value?
Craving or fear.
Craving
or fear.
or fear? And where does it sit? Where does the craving and fear sit? The mind? Is that right? Is the value in what we see? Now you see me, and you have attached a value, negative or positive, to I don't know, whichever. Is it in my image, or is it in your mind? Some might have a positive value, some might have attached a negative value. But it's not in my image. I don't radiate that. I don't emit that. It's in your side, right? So our practical meditation today is, because this sits in our mind. Don't even believe me. Don't even think that it really sits in mind. Just inquire. Remember, back in the day I told, don't deny, don't accept, inquire. So through that inquiry, we are going to see if we can give a break to this value that we attach to, right? That's the practical meditation that we are going to do today, right? So let's do that. Let's see if we can not give a value to anything in the world and then only feel the sound, only feel the taste or the touch or the hearing or basically what we see. Can we stop at that point without attaching value to things, right? Again, I'm not anti-value. Values are good. Because of values we have this society is functional. The economies are based on this value, right? If everyone did not agree that let's call a Canadian dollar, I won't be able to buy a Tim Hortons coffee. Right? It's a conventional value that everyone has agreed. But if you ask a kid, do you know what a Canadian dollar is? He would not know, and he has no value in it, right? So with all that, let's get back to our meditation today.